If you're caring for someone with dementia or Alzheimer's disease, we're connecting you with the Fading Memories podcast to give you support, encouragement, and guidance. You're listening to Heartbeat from the Heart of Hospice. I'm Helen Bauer, here with Jerry Fenter.
Whether you're a family caregiver or an end-of-life professional, we're here to enhance your hospice experience by connecting you with information you can use about end-of-life care. Because we know how busy life can get, Heartbeat is designed to give you helpful information in a bite-sized format. We'd like to thank today's sponsor, Funeralocity.com. It's hard to think about researching funeral homes when you're faced with the loss of a loved one. Funeralocity can help. At no cost to you, Funeralocity gives you the ability to compare the prices and services of every funeral home and cremation provider in your area and provide you with vast resources to assist in the funeral planning process. Find out more at Funeralocity.com.
We should talk about self-care today.
We should talk about self-care?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about caregiving.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a caregiver.
You're a caregiver?
I'm a caregiver.
You are a caregiver.
I
This
am
is
a
true.
caregiver.
But you need to tell us about your caregiving experience. Who is this person that you were providing care for?
Well, you know, it's strange you should ask that. I'm surprised by that question.
I know exactly where this is going. And go ahead, please.
I can sense the mockery in your tone.
No, not a bit. No.
You have no respect, but that's fine because he doesn't need it. He is perfectly wonderful all by his tiny, tiny little self. I have a brand new grandbaby. He is 5 weeks old.
His name?
Well, we call him Boss Baby or Mr. Baby, and sometimes we call him the Tiny Tyrant. Because when he's ready to eat or he wants to sleep, he is a loud little angry man with a very red face. He's precious baby. And I love him.
Okay, so you said you wanted to talk about self-care.
Yeah, I need some sleep. I'm not kidding you. I would give a cornea for some sleep. I've been helping. I'm such a good grandma. I love being his grandma. But my goodness.
Yeah, there's no sleep involved in this.
Mm-mm.
Very little.
Listen, he is living the life. He has somebody to bathe him, dress him, bring him all his meals at a very frequent interval. We don't care if he gains weight. In fact, we like it when he gains weight. Somebody washes all his clothes. When he wants to take a nap, the whole place is clouded in silence, and we're not allowed to disturb him.
Or otherwise, his mother will be very upset.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
she developed the mommy attitude very quickly. I leaned over the bassinet this week and I said, "This baby is so sweet," and she said, "He is, and if you touch him, I'll kill you." Don't you wake that baby up.
Don't you wake that baby up. That's right. Right. So all of this to also say that Helen is sleep deprived at the moment.
Yes, I am.
Sleep deprivation leaves her at times searching for words. So if there's a long pause, it's possible she's searching for a word.
You know, and that's not the best thing to have go wrong when you're, I was going to say shooting a podcast. There you go. There it hit right there. Sometimes there's just not enough caffeine is what it comes down to.
This is true. Okay, so today we're talking about fading memories. I think that's an appropriate segue.
Yes, except we're talking about support for fading memories. These are caregivers who are caring for dementia and Alzheimer's folks.
Right. This podcast is a supportive podcast for people dealing with a loved one with memory loss. So on the podcast, they interview people who have some answers and families who are currently on this particular journey.
Their host is Jennifer Fink, and Jennifer has an interesting family background because her mother, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother all have had Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
So her goal, her journey, and the legacy she hopes to live is that she will not become the fourth generation. So the website the blog that's attached to it, and the podcast are all about providing guidance and support and resources for caregivers and people with memory loss from Alzheimer's and dementia.
Right. And we know that there are a large majority of patients who are on hospice that have either Alzheimer's or dementia. And so this is something that would be very helpful for those families that have, a family member who is on hospice for Alzheimer's or dementia.
And what I really like about the website, which is fadingmemoriespodcast.com, is you can access all their resources there. You can listen to the podcast there. So all you have to do is get to the website. You don't have to go into Spotify or any of the other places, although you can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you have limited access to a smartphone, things like that, you can listen right on the computer if somebody will get you there.
Oh, that's good.
And they've got the blog there. They've got lots of different topics that they talk about or blog about, brain health, different pieces of advice for Alzheimer's caregivers. And one of the reasons we wanted to highlight this podcast and the blog today is because there is a unique set of caregiving challenges that comes with caring for somebody with Alzheimer's dementia.
Absolutely.
It's just a little bit different. I'm not saying it's special or it's harder, but it's challenging in its own unique way.
Right. It is a very unique challenge that Alzheimer's caregivers are faced with.
Hi, this is Gabby Jimenez of the Hospice Heart. I'm excited to let you know about an upcoming series on the Heart of Hospice podcast. I'm partnering with Jerry and Helen at the Heart of Hospice to bring you a special 6-part series on grief. We'll be talking with industry experts Isabel Stencil and Lisa Paul of the Death Deck about common grief issues we're all dealing with. You'll hear information about when to seek professional help for your grief and how to navigate grief that seems to hang on for years. We're also going to discuss grieving for a loved one while you're a caregiver for someone else. There'll be tips for managing grief by journaling and how to comfort someone who is grieving. Isabel and Lisa will share insight into grief issues in children and young adults. Be sure to subscribe to the Heart of Hospice podcast so you don't miss this great series. And you can also connect with me at thehospiceheart.net. And remember, no matter who you are or where you are in your hospice journey, you are the heart of hospice.
When you're dealing with the loss of a loved one, it can be challenging to find a funeral provider who will be a good fit for your needs. Funeralocity makes it easier. Through its Excellence Provider Program, you can find funeral homes in your area, compare services and prices, and make the choice that works for you. Burial and cremation providers go through a rigorous vetting process to be accepted as an excellence provider. They commit to upholding the highest standards and business practices. Funeralocity provides full price transparency so you can compare prices and services with confidence. Funeralocity.com is a great resource for hospice professionals, too. Its hospice portal offers resources for funeral planning, grief, and bereavement care, all at no charge. All you have to do is register on the Funeralocity website. Whether you're looking for the right funeral provider or supporting your patients and families as a hospice professional, Funeralocity provides all the information you need. It's the only site that has the prices of every funeral provider in America. Let Funeralocity.com help you and your family make the best choice for your funeral services. Now back to today's episode.
I love the name Fading Memories because it truly is the life of a Alzheimer's caregiver.
It absolutely is.
They watch this person just fade right in front of them, and it's difficult. It's very difficult and challenging.
So when you think about how a caregiver deals with this, the kind of support that they need, at first it may seem like minor things. And I think a lot of times I hear people look back and say, we look back now that we know the diagnosis, now that the doctors confirmed this, and we realize the symptoms probably started 5 years ago. forgetting things, trouble managing finances, household things that weren't taken care of, unpaid bills, forgetting personal hygiene, or unable to go out and back home without getting lost. And then, all of a sudden, those things click. Yeah, that she was already dealing with this.
Yeah, we thought it was just a momentary thing, but in reality, it was just the onset of what was about to happen.
And it tends to be pretty isolating because caregiving responsibilities are pretty standard for a lot of different serious illnesses. But when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia, you're talking about inappropriate talking, maybe loud, maybe belligerent, maybe inappropriate. Disrobing in public, cursing, things like that, where a person can become very isolated as the caregiver because the behaviors or the confusion isn't manageable out in public or in gatherings, even family gatherings. So I think there's some special early isolation, let's put it that way, that I think can come with being a caregiver for an Alzheimer's or dementia patient.
So if you are a caregiver for an Alzheimer's or dementia patient, we would absolutely recommend listening to the Fading Memories podcast and taking advantage of all these topics that they have covered to help you during your caregiving experience and your caregiving journey. So tap into all the helpful things that they provided for you. So check out fadingmemoriespodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to Heartbeat from the Heart of Hospice. I'm Helen Bauer with Jerry Fenter. Because we know your hospice journey is 24/7, you can always find us at theheartofhospice.com. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, and please take a minute to leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts.
To connect with us, all you need to do is send an email to host@theheartofhospice.com. And you can also find us on social media. And remember, no matter who you are or where you are in your hospice journey, you are the heart of hospice.